YouTube? Yeah. Hello world. This is zjhbk, aka Ziggy23 Entertainment, on YouTube. This is a video response to the Off the Road show, in particular Schlegdaddy, talking about do the fans think Austin Aries will carry the TNA World Heavyweight title to Bound for Glory? Now, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back into a year ago. Like he says, like the Bound for Glory series, when the Bound for Glory series first started. He's talking about how Crimson, he brought up some good points, how Crimson, Bully Ray, and he missed somebody, and I think he doesn't even care. Even Gunner and even Matt Morgan was booked to win the Bound for Glory series, but instead they went with Bobby Roode, which in a lot of people's eyes, including mine, was a good choice, because Bobby Roode has been ready and he has shown that he can go as a main eventer. So the whole thing was booked as Robert Roode's gonna win this thing. Robert Roode's gonna be new world champ, and we were all ready for it. But as we saw last year, that didn't exactly happen, because in Philadelphia, Kurt Angle beat Robert Roode to retain his TNA World Heavyweight Championship. So, proving the point that sometimes the best laid plans aren't always as good. So Schlegdaddy made a good point, but my question to Schlegdaddy is, though we think it's wrong, do you think Robert Roode losing the Bound for Glory series might have been, let's say, a blessing in disguise, maybe? Because look what happened. He won the title 3 weeks after the event by beating James Storm. And after that, he turned heel. After he beat James Storm, he turned heel. And that led to the first ever title reign of Robert Roode, which led to his 8 months being undefeated as champion. Well, not undefeated, but you know what I mean, like defending titles and all that type of stuff. So I think Roode not winning was a bad decision, because eventually he would have had to turn heel as a champion. But at the same time, TNA did capitalize on that by making Roode a heel just like instantly. But I still think he should have won the Bound for Glory series. Then we take a look at Austin Aries. Here's a guy that last year wasn't even in TNA. As a matter of fact, he just left All H in 2010 of that year, of 2 years ago. So here's what we're thinking: Destination X, Austin Aries last year. Destination X, Austin Aries, Jack Evans, zjhbk, and the winner gets a TNA contract. Austin Aries ends up winning. Now, me personally, I love Austin Aries. He is A-double. He is the greatest man that ever lived, no doubt about it. But here's me thinking, TNA is not going to keep this guy. The direction they're going at the time, TNA is not going to keep this guy for very long. Boy, was I wrong, because not only did they have Austin Aries beat, at the time, Brian Kendrick for the X Division Championship at No Surrender, but they had him hold it for equally as long. So going into Destination X of this year, you had Austin Aries going in as the longest reigning X Division champion in TNA history, and then you had Bobby Roode going in as the longest reigning TNA World Heavyweight Champion in history. Not a lot of people, including myself, thought that Bobby Roode was going to win. A lot of people thought Austin Aries was going to win by DQ. Hell, some people thought James Storm was going to get involved. But what TNA did was they pulled the trigger, which was a good thing, because look what happened. Austin Aries is now the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So the Schlegdaddy's question to us now is, do we think Austin Aries is going to keep the title to Bound for Glory? Dumb decision? Well, no. Not dumb decision. I'll give you my smart decision first. My smart decision would be yes, and here's why. Ever since he won the title of Destination X, Austin Aries has been the hottest person in TNA, next to Rude so far. Ever since Austin Aries returned for his like third run at Destination X, he's been like the hottest thing going. He's been the hottest thing smoking since last year's Destination X. And going into this year, I think it was a good move because it was like the X division. Somebody from the X division next year could have a chance to potentially be a world champion. So with that being said, and plus Austin Aries is so hot now, you've developed all this time and all this energy into putting Austin Aries into that spot where he could be a main eventer. So with that being said, and then you have the Bound for Glory series. Now the guys that I think is going to win is either you can have Samoa Joe win it, you can have James Storm win it, you can have Jeff Hardy win it, as Schlegdaddy put out, have Jeff Hardy win it. But here's what I would do. Here's how I would do this. You would have Austin Aries and Rude feud for a couple of months. And then like in the final months of that feud, you probably have James Storm or Jeff Hardy in the finals of the Bound for Glory series, or better yet, Samoa Joe and James Storm in the Bound for Glory series finals. And then you have Robert Roode fuck with James Storm, but then later on, in turn, have James Storm fuck with Robert Roode. So now you have the settings of a potential grudge match between James Storm and Robert Roode. And you can also come up with the story that James Storm has never beaten Robert Roode. Because if you think about it, the two times that Roode has met with James, Roode always comes out victorious. So you can have there's a story behind that now. And I think potentially this doesn't need the TNA World Heavyweight Championship involved. Because I'll give you an example of a feud that didn't really need the TNA World Heavyweight title in it, and it was pretty good. Or any World Championship, let's just say. Let's say Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, for example. This match, this feud in the years, yes, it did involve the World Wrestling Federation title in the World Rumble 98, but in the two previous matches, you got the first time they ever squared off. That was cool. And then you got the first ever Hell in a Cell match between the two. And to prove the point to Schlegdaddy, the world title was not the main event. Both of those guys was the main event. So to prove his point, you can have James Storm and Robert Roode be the main event still, like in a no-holds-barred grudge match type of situation. And then potentially you can have Austin 3 dream matches out of this whole thing. Dream match number 1, obviously Aries and Joe. Dream match number 2, obviously Jeff Hardy. That would be an awesome dream match to have. Who hasn't dreamed of Austin Aries and Jeff Hardy? Or dream match number 3, and this is probably what some people will go to because they've already seen Joe. Some internet fans aren't as big on Jeff Hardy. I probably am. I'm big on, not too big, but I'm big on him. Jeff Hardy maybe, and you have AJ Styles, who Austin's never faced in TNA. So that's 3 potential dream matches right there. So in response to Schlegdaddy, because my time's winding down, my answer would be the best decision ever would be to have Austin Aries carry that title to Bound for Glory. If they decide to go past that, great. That's awesome. I would probably have Robert Roode and James Storm be the main event. And I would have Austin Aries versus either Joe, Hardy, or crazy enough AJ go as the guys to face Austin Aries. So that's my response to Schlegdaddy. I hope he responds back. And this is Ziggy, zjhbk. Check out my channel. I'm out.